They thought I was just a quiet old man. That was their first mistake. The HOA put 12 commercial buildings on my land. They tore down my fence, bulldozed the memorial I built for my late wife, and laughed when I showed them my deed. Their lawyer called me a bitter old man clinging to dirt. So I stopped arguing. I stopped protesting. I let them finish. I watched them pour the concrete, raise the walls, and cut the ribbon for their grand opening. Because every nail they hammered was just another piece of the trap they were too arrogant to see. It all started on a Tuesday morning. I was standing in my kitchen, coffee halfway to my mouth, when I heard a sound that didn't belong. Not birds, not lawn mowers, metal crunching through wood, over and over again. I set the mug down and walked to the back window that overlooks the 5 acres my father left me. For a moment, my brain couldn't process what my eyes were seeing. A big yellow backhoe was swinging its arm like a prizefighter, smashing apart the old split rail fence that had marked my property line for as long as I could remember. Each post cracked and fell with a tired sigh. My fence. On my land, behind the machine stood a young man in a crisp polo shirt with an HOA logo on the chest, calmly checking boxes on a clipboard. I walked outside in my slippers, the cool air hitting my face while something hot started burning in my chest. I didn't run. I walked steady. "Excuse me," I said, louder than I meant to. He looked up and smiled like I'd interrupted him at a country club. "Morning. Can I help you?" "You're tearing down my fence," I said. He glanced at the wreckage, then back at his clipboard. "This land was annexed by the association last year. Commercial development. If you have an issue, you can bring it up at the next board meeting. Annexed. That land wasn't forgotten property. It was my father's homestead. 5 acres of old pines, a stream running through the middle. After my wife Sarah passed, I built a simple oak bench by that stream, right where we scattered her ashes. Nothing fancy. Just a quiet place to remember." The man followed my gaze toward the trees and sneered. "People get sentimental," he said. "But this place is going commercial. Progress." He called my wife's memorial sentimentality. He called destruction progress. I turned around and walked back inside because anger wasn't going to fix this. I'm an engineer by trade. I believe in facts and paper. I found the original deed in my filing cabinet. Heavy paper, clean, filed. I took a copy to the HOA office and laid it on the counter. They barely looked at it. They made up something called community eminent domain and told me to file a complaint they'd review at the end of the quarter. They were counting on me being old and confused. The next morning, the sounds got worse. Chainsaws screamed through the woods. Bulldozers shook the ground. By the time I reached the stream, it was gone. The clearing was nothing but churned mud and splintered wood. My wife's bench was crushed into the earth like it never mattered. That night, they put up a tall chain link fence topped with barbed wire. It wasn't to keep people out. It was to keep me out. That's when the anger disappeared and something cold took its place. I went to the county clerk's office and pulled records. My deed was clean. Then I found it. A newly filed plat map showing my land absorbed into the HOA, but the signature was wrong. The filing number didn't match. It was a forgery. They hadn't annexed my land. They stole it. A lawyer told me the truth. Fighting them would take years and money I didn't have. So I stopped fighting. I called an old Navy friend, a surveyor who trusted century-old maps more than computers. Together, we overlaid the real boundaries with their fake ones. When the final sheet went down, my breath caught. All 12 buildings, every parking space, every foundation, dead center on my land. They never checked. Too arrogant, so I let them build. I let the businesses open. I let them throw their rib-uncutting ceremony and toast to their victory. Every dollar they spent tightened the noose. When we finally moved, it was fast. One lawsuit, one injunction, one courtroom. I wore my old Navy dress blues. When the maps went up on the easel, the room went silent. Black line showed the real boundary. Red line showed the forgery. Blue line showed 12 buildings sitting squarely inside my property. The judge didn't hesitate. The HOA owned nothing. One board member fainted. Another tried to flee the courtroom. The trap had closed. The next morning, I posted eviction notices on every storefront, dentist, yoga studio, vape shop. They weren't my enemies. They were casualties of greed. Most left. Then came the second lawsuit, this time against the board members personally. Their insurance dropped them overnight. One resigned in tears. One was arrested for forgery. The empire collapsed. The chain link fence came down. A split rail fence went back up, just like before. I rebuilt the bench. Neighbors who had been bullied for years finally spoke up. The HOA was reformed. Their power to steal land was gone for good. Months later, we held a potluck on the empty concrete slab where the plaza used to be. Kids played where parking lines once were. That was real community. I sat by the stream as the water ran clear again. They thought land was just dirt, just a blank space on a map. But land holds memory. It holds truth. And sometimes, if you're patient enough, it holds the trap arrogant people walk straight into. That land is mine. And it always was.